Hello folks out there in YouTube land, this is Darkest Dungeon, and I'm going to be doing, well, I'm going to talk more about specifically what I'm going to be doing in a moment, but before we do, I just want you guys to see the intro to this game, because this intro is incredible. So I'm going to mute my mic and just play the intro. It's amazing.
Ruin has come to our family. You remember our venerable house? Opulent and imperial, gazing proudly from its stoic perch above the moor. I lived all my years in that ancient, rumor-shadowed manor, fattened by decadence and luxury. And yet I began to tire of conventional extravagance. Singular, unsettling tales suggested the mansion itself was a gateway to some fabulous and unnameable power. With relic and ritual, I bent every effort towards the excavation and recovery of those long-buried secrets, exhausting what remained of our family fortune on swarthy workmen and sturdy shovels. At last, in the salt-soaked crags beneath the lowest foundations, we unearthed that damnable portal of antediluvian evil. Our every step unsettled the ancient earth, but we were in a realm of death and madness. In the end, I alone fled laughing and wailing through those blackened arcades of antiquity, until consciousness failed me. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial. It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
Yeah, so that intro cinematic, absolutely wonderful. Hello, Lethal Kitten, welcome back. No guitar today. I mostly do guitar streams these days, for those of you who might not know this, but tonight is video games, because of a conversation I was having earlier. So we're going to be starting a new game in Darkest Dungeon. I'm recording this for YouTube. Those of you watching live may want to know that. So if I sort of ramble, a lot of stuff I'll say might be particularly relevant to YouTube. Anyway, we need like a new save file name. How about well, it's gonna say like the such and such estate. So how about like, I'm just gonna go with Trouble T Cat. We haven't used that yet. I'm trying to remember that the third one was correct. So this game, I'm gonna talk a little bit about why I'm doing this series while we play the tutorial, because the tutorial, not much exciting is gonna happen. So there's basically two things that are gonna be going on here. One is
you will arrive along the old road.
We're gonna watch this cutscene.
It winds with a troubling serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is
I somehow skipped the entire tutorial. I did not even realize that was... Oh no, I didn't skip the entire tutorial. Whatever, the cutscene, I either skipped it or it ended. I had my sound muted, so I'm not really sure. Anyway, so this is the tutorial. But basically, there are a few reasons I wanted to do this. One is that I've kind of wanted to do a review of this game for a while. That's not really a main motivation. I wanted to do like a kind of walkthrough / tutorial sort of thing of this game for a while, because people on the forums always complain when they add features that make the game harder and stuff like that, and things change a lot with the game, I guess. And I think a lot of the frustration is just from things changing, but there's kind of this representation of this game among the community and in when it's covered in the gaming press, which is not that frequently, that it's like really, really hard And I've always found it pretty straightforward, so I wanted to do kind of a tutorial or walkthrough sort of series. But this isn't going to be entirely that either. Sort of, but no, I guess. Because another goal of this playthrough. We have multiple goals for one playthrough. One is to try and talk about how to play this game correctly and not fuck up too bad, because people apparently have a hard time with that. And the other one is to challenge ourselves a little bit and have a little bit of fun. I'm not setting any specific restrictions for myself at this point, I don't think, but just trying to sort of try out different playstyles and party compositions than what I've generally relied on in the past, rather than doing the same old, same old. So I'm going to try and kill this Fusilier first, I think. It's going to be a little bit weird because Reynold can't hit him, but I'm going to get Dismas to kill that Fusilier. So the thing that I want people to give me a hard time about... Oh, by the way, are the audio levels okay? Like, am I coming through nice and loud and clear over the game itself? Because I want to be able to talk over pretty much everything. Yeah, stun chance ain't great, but... yeah, fuck it. No, I've been streaming for a long time. I only just started for tonight, but I've been doing streaming for a long time. Shit. Oh yeah, these things happen. So, what was I saying? Yes, the thing that I want people to give me a hard time about during this is if I'm not explaining why I'm doing certain things, because I do want to talk about strategy in this game. Right now I'm barely paying attention because it's a tutorial, we're not too worried about this. I should probably stop trying to stun that fatty though, because it's not working for me. Yeah, I want to talk about strategy and stuff, so if I'm doing a lot of things in combat that don't... it's not obvious why I'm doing them, and I'm not talking about why I'm doing them, then you can be like, Trouble T-Cat, why are you using those abilities? What are you doing there, Trouble T-Cat? I'm actually vaguely worried I wasn't paying enough attention here, because I was focused on talking, and I think Reynold may actually die, which would be pretty embarrassing. Considering the entire premise of this thing. He's not gonna die. Do we have a bandage? No, he's not gonna die though. He'll be fine. We're just gonna pray to RNGesus that he doesn't actually die from bleeding to death. If he does, the other thing about this is it doesn't really matter if Reynold dies. It'd be kind of sad. I like to keep Reynold with me. You know, he's kind of a bro, but we don't really need him.
Monster's size has no...
And we're not going to open this chest because it's trapped. I don't even need to look at it. It's trapped. So let's return to the Hamlet. Alright. That was the tutorial. If you fuck up too bad on the tutorial, then I don't think there's anything I can do for you at that point. The tutorial is the tutorial. So hopefully that part of the game you do an okay job of without needing too much guidance.
Such as it is.
I know that it's trapped from previous playthroughs of this game. That chest is always trapped.
And you are bound to
every time it's trapped.
In time,
so there's not much we can do in the Hamlet just yet. We need to, of course, recruit a couple new heroes, and we're going to get...
most will end up here.
These people always used to be named. They changed this. These people's names are now randomly generated, but the first Plague Doctor and Vestal you got used to always be named Valence and...
all will find their way.
I can't remember the name of the first Vestal, actually, that you used to get. It varies now anyway, so that's no longer important. This time we have Bertrand and Fecamp? Fecamp? I don't know how you're meant to pronounce that, so I'm just going to change this person's name to, Felicity, in honor of Day 9. Okay, so, yeah, we don't have much we need to do in the Hamlet the first time we come to the Hamlet, but you do want to upgrade your stagecoach a little bit. Particularly, you want to upgrade your stagecoach network one time, and then you can embark, you're done.
A mecca of madness
So,
and morbidity.
we're going to obviously take the only 4 characters we have at this point. The first few missions are kind of rote learning for me at this point, you know. I just kind of know what's going on here, so... This is,
Preparedness.
the game advises you to bring at least 8 food and 4 torches. Generally, for a short mission, I will take 12 food and 6 torches, because you don't waste that much money. And it's better to bring a little bit more than you need than not quite enough. For the ruins, short ruins, I'm going to bring a shovel and a skeleton key. I'm not going to bother with any of the other items just at the moment. Later on, you'll see me bring more stuff on shorts, but I'm not going to do it on this first mission, because I'm not actually sure. This first mission might be always the same. I don't think it is. I think this is randomly generated, but this should be fine. After watching this game a bunch, I still don't understand why do some characters not want to fight with others or stuff like that. That only happens with one specific character.
Better place to begin than the seat.
And it's just a gameplay thing. Basically, there's a guy called the Abomination who is like part demon, and any characters who are religious will not fight with the Abomination because the Abomination is evil, basically. So that's the explanation for that mechanic. Which makes the Abomination... The Abomination is a really powerful character, but he's kind of a pain to use because of that mechanic. So with Dismas, or with the Highwayman in general, rather, the best bang for your buck in terms of DPS is generally going to be to use the Grape Shot Blast, assuming you can actually hit through people with it. So when I've got a Highwayman in the party, you'll see me using the Grape Shot Blast a lot, because it's just a really efficient ability in terms of damage. And similarly with the Plague Doctor, his Plague Grenade is just a really strong ability. I will use the Plague Grenade as kind of a default thing, unless I have a good reason to do something else with the Plague Doctor. Vestal, we're gonna stun somebody. I mean, she can just kill someone at this point. I'm gonna stun the guy that I can't kill, because it's kind of a waste using a stunning ability on somebody who... Oh, that's not the stun ability. She doesn't have that. She has it. It's the other one that heals her. Well then, in either case, we fucked up. That's okay, though. Sorry if we go kind of quickly.
Their formation is broken. Maintain
But,
the offensive.
It's a long game, so if I sort of talk about strats really quickly and stuff, you know, I'm going to be bringing them up a lot over the course of the playthrough. So there will be plenty of chances to catch things that might be missed. These guys are already both kind of low. What I want to do here is actually bring these dudes forward so that I can hit them with Reynold, and the Plague Doctor's Disorienting Blast destroys all the corpses, which allows me to do that. And these guys are both dead already, because they're both plagued for more damage than their total health, so it doesn't even matter what we do anymore.
As the fiend falls,
I'm just going to do that, because it no longer matters. I could have tried to extend the combat so that I could get a heal off out of the Vestal before the combat ended. I don't usually do that, though. Just to be clear, it's strategically sound to extend combat to heal, at least for 1 or 2 rounds. I just personally don't like it very much, so I usually don't do it. Okay, at this point, people are starting to get hurt. We're probably going to be doing nothing except for healing with the Vestal from here on out. And which heal I use is somewhat situational. Her group heal is more efficient, assuming everyone is hurt. But if there are people who aren't hurt, you're going to be better off using her heal as an individual. This stuff is readily apparent if you just look at the numbers. I don't know, it's a debate in my mind how in-depth I want to talk about strategy and stuff, because things like that, what I just brought up, are going to be really obvious to anyone actually playing the game. At least I think so. Because you just look at the numbers and you can just see, oh, that heal is more efficient in these situations, but not always, and so on. But, I think probably the strategy we're going to use for deciding what we talk about and what we don't talk about is I'm going to talk about the things I want to talk about. It's my general strat, and it hasn't steered me wrong so far.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
So in this situation, we're going to use a different attack on Dismas. It is generally best if you have the opportunity to kill somebody outright,
Give them no
rather
quarter.
than doing like chip damage that doesn't kill someone. It is generally best to get the kill, because an enemy that you kill is an enemy that can no longer damage you. So in this case, I could do more damage total if I used Zealous Accusation and hit both these guys, but if I just use Smite, there's a pretty good chance... It's actually not that good in this case. There's a decent chance if I just use Smite that I'll be able to kill this Brawler immediately. So I'm going to go for that instead, because removing the Brawler from combat is more useful to me than
Continue the onslaught.
chip damage. As it happens, we're able to finish it off with the Plague Doctor. Right now, Felicity here is not no, we'll do a repeal here. Yeah, that's good. Very good. So I want to give a shout out to my friend Casey. I mean, I don't actually know him super well, but he's this guy that I play video games with sometimes, and he was the one who got me into the... This is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and Casey was the one who started talking to me about the game tonight and gave me the motivation to actually
Surges as the enemy crumbles.
do it right now.
Success so clearly in
So hopefully this goes well for us, because if this goes badly for us, I'm going to blame Casey and hate him forever. It's just all going to be his fault. Using that key we brought on the sarcophagus. And heading back. You generally want to minimize the amount of backtracking you do, but in this case, it was unavoidable because we had a room battle in that room. We had to go check it out. So, I'm going to be moving on. Bookshelf. I'm going to ignore this bookshelf. Sometimes you get... Yeah, fuck off. I know game. I know what the torch is about, okay? Sometimes you get benefits from the bookshelves, but I've usually found that
Ambushed
you get
by
bad
power
RNG
invention.
with the bookshelves. They don't tend to be worth the trouble. So I'm going to buff up my torch here to Radiant Light, which in this case means using 2 torches. The reason I'm doing that is so that hopefully hopefully we'll get to Scout here, and then we'll know... Yeah. So we now know we don't need to go to this room, and we can avoid this fight in the hallway entirely. Because our goal is to complete room battles, not to visit all the rooms. So I can just avoid that fight, since there's no battle in the room itself. And that's lovely. Dismas having
Furious
terrible
is the
RNG there,
trapmaker's
getting
art.
hurt by the trap, even though he had a
Efficacy
90% chance of
unwitnessed
this
by his own eyes.
This guy, Altar of Light, this guy wants holy water, but I didn't bring any holy water with me. I'm gonna try and just use him without the holy water. Yeah, we're doing okay. Gets extra damage until camp. Sometimes if you use those guys without holy water, bad things can happen. And if we're lucky, this next room will be the last... Actually, no, we're not going back. Fuck that. If we're lucky, this next room will be the last room we have to visit on this particular mission, which would be nice. But on the off chance that it's not, I'm going to go ahead and buff the torch again. So that if we need to go to the next room, we'll be able to see if there's any traps or anything like that. Scouting is extremely useful if you don't like getting completely wrecked. The impression that I get is that most people are not fans of being totally wrecked. Wow! Dismas, nice job. Good shooting there, buddy. I hope you die to skeletons. Stop bitching, Dismas. We'll heal you up. You're not gonna die.
Exposed to a killing blow.
Ah, it's not a killing blow. She's fine.
A
He's
dizzying
fine.
blow to
We're having
body
bad
and brain.
RNG this fight. That's okay. Bad RNG is not the end of the world. I'm going to use Zealous Accusation here because it might kill the front guy. Didn't. We didn't have great luck there either, but that's not unexpected. The good thing now is we've set up nicely for Dismas, so he'll be able to do a lot of damage. Do I want a Disorienting Blast or... No, we're just going to keep hitting with these Plague Grenades for now. And Dismas should pick up at least one kill here. Come on, man! That is not how you shoot bullets from your gun.
Teetering on the brink, facing the abyss.
You know, I'm beginning to regret taking Dismas along at all. I think we should leave him behind. So you notice there that I used the group heal, even though Plague Doctor was at really low health and needed to heal much more than anyone else. And it's just because you want to go for the highest possible healing you can do. All the time.
Unbalanced.
Individual characters' health is important, obviously, but the most important thing, I think, is the party health. You gotta keep your party as a whole healthy, and so you don't want to be doing inefficient healing when you can do more efficient healing. So again, here's the deal. Divine Comfort 1 heals everyone in the group for 1 to 2 HP, whereas Divine Grace 1 heals one person for 3 to 5. So if I use Divine Comfort 1, we're looking at a total range of 4 to 6, whereas this is 3 to 5. So with all 4 members in the party alive, Divine Comfort 1 is always a better heal in terms of giving more health total to my party. And of course, one health of healing is enough to take a character off of death's door. So, I mean, it's probably, you know, from their perspective, if we were to roleplay, Dismas would probably appreciate a better heal at this point. But realistically, it's enough. It's enough to just get him off death's door. We need to get rid of these corpses. So, well, this guy's dead anyway. It doesn't matter now, because the last dude is blighted, and he'll just die as soon as the round starts. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and use healing on Valence here, since there's no way he can accelerate this anyway. Alright, good.
Unforgiving.
I keep calling him Valence because I'm so used to the first Plague Doctor you get being named Valence, but this is, of course, Bertrand. Unlocked Strongbox. So these, if you see something that says Unlocked Strongbox, these are usually trapped. They're not always trapped, though, but they're usually trapped, so don't open these with low health characters, but I'm going to have Reynold open this. And in this case, it was not trapped, which is fortunate, after the bad RNG in that last fight. So that did not end the mission, which means we have one more battle in the next room, and this has actually gone quite poorly for us. I'd say this is a pretty bad first mission, all things considered. I'm going to get the Plague Doctor here to use this fountain, Order of Light rather, and hopefully they'll feel better. Yeah, it's unusual to have a first dungeon go quite this poorly, but I mean, it's not the worst. I still expect us to get out of this without losing any characters, which is, of course, the most important thing. I probably should have used that last torch before I came in here. It's really easy to forget stuff when you're streaming, stuff like that, you know, it's like, it's kind of weird, because I play this game a lot. But I don't usually stream it. And, yeah, when you start streaming something, you end up very often forgetting things that you know and that you frequently do, because you get distracted trying to give commentary and stuff like that. It can be tricky. We're not going to bother even trying to stun this fatty, we're just going to hit him in the face. Hitting people in the face is always a valid strategy, except for when it's not. This has got to be the worst walkthrough ever.
Set the stage for heroism.
I had considered sitting down and really sort of organizing my thoughts into what are the most important things to say about Darkest Dungeon, you know? What are the key sort of elements to bring up, and then making a really tight, well-constructed video, like my Horizons review, for example, where I really sort of address the main sort of strategies you have to employ and the main way you have to think to get through this game okay, and I thought about doing that, but instead, this is what you get. I'm drunk, and I'm playing my Darkest Dungeons. I guess the thing about this game is that it's hard to point out too many, like, I mean, there are certain things people could do that would be really big mistakes and really obviously wrong, but
Perhaps the turning
generally speaking, the way you win this game is by making the small choices correctly.
Seize this momentum.
90% of the time, rather than like it's not a grand sweeping strategy game. It's something that largely your success or failure is based on your moment-to-moment decisions about what abilities you use and what you choose to upgrade when you're in the hamlet and what kind of party you bring with you, rather than these sort of broad sweeping generalizations about strategy. So I think it'd be a hard game to make a comprehensive sort of tutorial for, in the sense of like, this is what you gotta do to win. Because what you have to do to win is extremely situational. And in fact, that's one of the issues with XCOM, an unrelated, not this game, but a related game, rather. XCOM is a game that is very similar in terms of it's really about moment-to-moment decisions you make. But a lot of people,
calls to the faithful.
we need to recruit whoever we have in the stagecoach. We don't get to choose. This early in the game, you don't get to choose what characters you want. You just have to recruit everybody in the stagecoach. And you want to upgrade the stagecoach to have available Heroes 4 as soon as possible. Anyway, I can't do that right now. As I was saying, yeah, it's related to XCOM in that what a lot of people do in XCOM Enemy Unknown that leads them astray, and it's not just in that, it's in all games like that, and this is similar in key ways. You set these sort of rules, and you have this formula set down about, like, this is how I play each mission, or this is how I go through each dungeon, in the case of this game. And you stick to that, and you fuck up because, not necessarily because the rules are wrong, because they might be correct in the general case, but because you stick to them when you shouldn't. And you end up not thinking out of the box because you get really set in a certain way of thinking. I'm gonna sell both of these items because I don't need either of these things right now. Don't be afraid to sell items in this game. Stuff like that, like low tier items, you're gonna get a lot of that kind of crap. You don't need to hold on to those things if you don't actually want to use them immediately. You can just get rid of that shit. It's fine. So this is a common thing to happen for the third quest, and it makes the third quest hard. The third quest is actually one of the harder quests you will do in the early game, because you have no choice but to bring along somebody who is already high stress. So in this case, I've got a Plague Doctor and 2 frontliners. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring along that Vestal, even though she's already very high stress. So we're going to be having some stress problems on Felicity in the next mission. But there's literally no decision you can make at any point to allow you to avoid that. You just have to deal with that in the third quest. Somebody is going to be stressed out, and you'll have to bring them with you. We're not done in the hamlet, though, so we need to think about ordering here and check what abilities these new characters have. The ordering I set up is fine. We got a good roll on this guy's abilities. That all looks good. Okay. The other thing we have to do is put a couple of people in therapy. Obviously. So I'm going to upgrade that, and I'm going to put... Okay, I'm not going to be putting Bertrand in the penance hall. He will only pray. That's unfortunate. Which he... yeah, he can do. That's good. How much... So, upgrading the Abbey you don't have to worry about too much. The things you want to be really careful about spending in town are the portraits and the deeds. Spending busts and crests is not such a big deal. At least that's been my experience. I tend to have plenty of busts and crests, but portraits and deeds are really important because you need those to upgrade the buildings that let you actually improve the abilities of your heroes, and those are the most important upgrades. But the Abbey does not use portraits or deeds. The tavern, however, does use portraits, so you want to be sparing about how you upgrade the tavern, and Reynold cannot get stress relief this turn because actually we might want to do a little bit of a stranger setup if we can make it fly, because Reynold cannot get stress relief. Maybe we want to bring Reynold on the mission, so he has to be first or second, or he can't do anything. We'd want to leave Felicity behind. He has to be. He can only. She can only use one ability in third position, which is gonna suck. He can use most of his abilities in the. So we could put Tornai third, but can Plukit do anything from the back? He can use most of his, but we could do that. No, that's gonna suck. We'll get more heroes after this anyway. We're just gonna let Reynold be stressed out for now. It's not that big of a deal. Hello folks on the stream, by the way. Welcome to the stream. There's only a few of you. There will probably only ever be a few of you tonight. I don't imagine this game being super popular. But hello. So we're going to... I was going to say we're going to do a medium quest, because medium quests are generally easier than short quests. That may seem counterintuitive, but it's been my experience that usually medium quests are easier than short quests. However, because Felicity is already so stressed out, and we don't have the ability yet to change what skills we have in camping, I think we're going to have to go for a shorter quest, just so that hopefully Felicity doesn't lose her fucking mind. We'll do exploration, because that should allow us to skip one rum, and it will be a little bit easier. Short quest than rum battle. Rum battles can be easier than exploration sometimes. It really depends. It's hard to predict, actually, so maybe it doesn't matter that much is the correct answer. So we're going to bring a shovel again. We're going to bring 2 keys this time. And I don't think we actually needed the holy water when I said we did. I think that's all we're going to bring. 12 food, 6 torches, 1 shovel, 2 keys. That should get us through a short quest in the ruins. That should be a good setup. In terms of what you bring to each of the zones, for me, that's something that I don't have any hard and fast rules about it. I've just kind of developed a feel for it. Like, it's kind of like, I feel like in the ruins, this is roughly what I will need. So it varies from sort of mission to mission what I'll take with me, and you kind of gotta just learn. But there are a few general rules. For example, in ruins, blockages are common but not that common, which is why I brought a shovel but only 1 shovel. If I was in the Warrens, for example, I'd have 2 shovels, because in the Warrens you see lots of blockages, or so has been my experience. And in the ruins you encounter quite a lot of chests, so I brought 2 skeleton keys rather than just 1. I would usually bring at least 1 skeleton key, regardless of which zone I'm in, but in the ruins I'll tend to bring more, because you get more chests in the ruins and more locked items. It's possible this is all just in my mind and not actually facets of the game, but all I can really tell you is just this is what I've observed. So Pluknut cannot quite kill either of these guys, and that being the case, Noxious Blast is more efficient damage. Well, then again, neither of these dudes is going to survive long enough for that kind of blight to matter, so we're just going to hit. I'm just going to hit. Those are the kinds of things that go through my head when I play this game. That is generally the thought process behind each decision. It's deep and complex. Oh, that's unfortunate. So, the Man-at-Arms, I really like the Man-at-Arms. He's a great class, but this ability set is not one that I would have chosen. However, he might kill this guy? No. No, of course not. You fucked it up, Tornai. You fucked it up. Doesn't really matter, though. Just gonna heal him of that damage. Just because somebody is near full health, that doesn't mean you shouldn't heal them.
Press this advantage.
For the Vestal, usually the way I work with the Vestal is if she can heal someone, then I'll do the heal. Because
Maintain the offensive.
her attacks are not that good. The stun, like once you get Dazzling Light, her stun is useful. But it's not the best. We don't want to use If It Bleeds on that guy. Can I kill these corpses with Yaw? No. That kind of sucks. Actually, what have we got? I'm going to use If It Bleeds on this dude just so that the next character can kill them. Or you could just miss. Or you could just miss. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, why would you want to hit the enemies? That, you know, that's not helpful. No, okay, let's kill one of these corpses. Alright. Alright, Montague. It's your time to shine. Come on, man! That's not how you kill. You never would have survived the barbarian wastes like that. I don't even believe you are a real barbarian. So RNG is a big factor in this game. You might be able to tell. There is considerable RNG involved. But, you know, that doesn't mean it's a bad game. Does not mean it's a bad game. The thing about RNG is that it can make for really good gameplay if the game is one where you can mitigate bad luck in various ways. For example, Enemy Unknown is extremely... I bring up XCOM a lot because I love XCOM. I'm so excited for XCOM 2. I'll be doing a playthrough of that for sure. Much like I did something similar with XCOM 1. Anyway, XCOM, there's a lot of randomness, and people complain about that sometimes, but the thing about XCOM is that it's not about perfect control. It's about the mitigation of bad luck. Like, you take bad luck as a given. You just assume that the worst thing possible will happen every single time, because that's how my life has always been. And you try and sort of work with that and just minimize the amount that bad luck can fuck you through continuous intelligent decisions. And if you do this well, then luck is not that big of a factor. Luck is a factor moment to moment, but in terms of the long game, it doesn't make a big difference because you're sort of controlling it. It's, yes, you will have bad luck sometimes and you will have good luck sometimes, but because of your intelligence and because of what you're putting into the game, on average, your luck will be good enough to get you through if you play well and make the correct decisions. And to me, like, that's a well-designed game. There's RNG in those games, but they work fine. They're great. What's bad is when there's no way to account for luck. I don't think this game is like that. That's one thing, for example, that's maybe wary of new game on Steam. It's getting a lot of hype on YouTube, a lot of videos and stuff called Tarsus or Tharsis. I'm pretty sure the H is meant to be sort of silent there and it should be Tarsus, but I could be wrong.
Sublimity of the intelligence.
And I've watched a lot of gameplay of that, and to me, it looks like I would find the luck to be too controlling, as it were. There's not enough opportunity to deal with bad RNG in a way that still lets you get through. So to get back to the game we're currently playing, our Vestal has become abusive. That's not really a problem.
Continue the onslaught.
We expected this to happen, in fact. It's just kind of what happens on the third mission, because you have to bring in somebody who's already stressed. You have no choice. And they are probably going to end up hitting 100 stress, and they will probably end up getting a negative thing, not a positive thing. I can't remember what the negative trait rather than a virtue. But it's not that big a deal. It's actually fine. So these two guys are both already dead because of the blight. So we're just gonna hit this dude, and everyone's dead. It's over. I don't have to do anything anymore this combat. I mean, I will have to do something
Slowly.
if they don't both act. Oh, okay, don't have to do
This is
anything.
how
Yeah.
life is taken.
Good. So it's a good thing we chose to come down here rather than not, and just praying that we're gonna be no. Oh, we didn't have to come to this room. That's unfortunate. If I'd scouted this, I could have skipped it. But since I did not scout it, I still made the most correct choice. When you're doing these exploration missions, you can generally skip 1, sometimes 2 rooms on longer missions. I think maybe 3. You can skip a few rooms when you're doing an exploration mission. And what you want to do is you want to have good scouting so that when you skip a room, you know that you are skipping a room with a battle in it.
Darkness closes.
Because battles are pointless. When you're scouting, you don't want to fight people. That's not what you're here to do. That's not your prime directive. It doesn't help you to fight people at this point. So we just want to avoid that if we can. At the moment, our torch is completely out. I'm gonna I'm gonna bring that torch back up when we get to this area around here, where knows, so that we have a good chance of scouting. Because scouting would be good. Scouting is super, super useful. When you scout, and this is why we brought the shovel.
Even the cold stone seems bent on preventing
When you scout, you know
passage.
what you'll see, which is really nice. So we're going to use 4 torches, so
The
we
light,
have full light.
the promise of safety.
And we should have a good chance to scout here. Unfortunately, the RNG has fucked us once again. So I can choose here. I can either skip this room, or I can skip this room. This room might be empty, or it might be monsters. I don't know. This room I'll get to scout. But the thing is that if this room is monsters up here, then I'd be inclined to walk all the way back and come here, and then I'd build up my stress. No, we're gonna go to this room. Just to be clear that nope, okay, fuck that then. I don't have another shovel. You get a lot of stress. If you have to break down a barricade with your hands, you get a lot of stress. So you should try and avoid that where possible. And in this case, it tipped the balance for me in terms of which room I would choose to avoid, because I did not want to deal with that stress. I should really be ending the part for those of you watching on YouTube, like right now, but not happening until we finish this this encounter. And by this encounter, I mean this dungeon. I hope you folks are enjoying the stream. I'd stream this game more, because I do play this a lot, but I always felt like it would not be something entertaining to watch. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe people like it. Maybe my excellent commentary makes it entertaining. I don't know. I don't know. I would probably watch it, now that I think about it, but I'm kind of a broken man, and I watch a lot of stuff that I don't think most people would watch. I mean, I'm happy to stream it, because I was going to be playing it anyway, and it is more relaxing. Sometimes I don't stream things, because it is more relaxing for me to just play stuff without streaming, but it's not that demanding, really, like live streaming. You know, you just play your game like you would be anyway, but instead of having everything happening inside your brain, you talk about what's happening. And that's fine. Okay, film and so on. It's not that demanding. Just get in the face and kill him. Hitting people in the face and killing them is generally going to be a staple of your strategy in this game. Just in the general case, if you can hit somebody in the face and kill them, that tends to be a fairly strong move. I'm not hitting this guy because he's already dead. He's going to take 4 damage as soon as it's his turn. He's already dead. There's no point hitting him. That would be a waste of move. See, he's dead. He doesn't get to do anything. He was already dead. I think that'd be an easy thing for new players to miss, maybe. Like, when there's a dot on somebody that's going to kill them in their next turn, don't hit them. There's no reason to hit them. They're already dead. Absolutely no reason to hit them again. If the dot is going to kill them already, just don't. You don't need to hit them. It's fine. They're already dead. I don't think I can emphasize that enough. It is literally exactly like Fist of the North Star. In this case, I maybe should have hit that guy instead of missing. But I don't have direct control over that. You know, you can't get too hung up on the things you don't directly control. I'm just gonna try and blight this guy again because then he's dead. Yep, he's dead now.
The slow
There he
death,
goes. He's gone.
unforeseen.
So it's a good thing we, no, it's unfortunate we came down here, actually, because, holy shit. I'm kind of drunk. I got a bit confused about where we are and what we had done, but that's not a problem. What does this Man at Arms side patch do? Dodge. A little bit, a lot more dodge, a little bit less. Yeah, we'll equip that. We'll use that. We'll use that trinket. That should work well for us. Most trinkets, some trinkets, the effects are pretty substantial and can affect your play and builds a lot, but most trinkets are fairly mild, but they do tend to be balanced so that the benefits just barely outweigh the negatives. Like, you sort of look at them and you go, is it really worth it? You know, because there's negative effects too, and is this really going to be something I actually want to use? The answer is usually yes, if you have nothing better. Like, in the general case, it's better to have a trinket than no trinket. Fuck. In the general case, it's better to hit the enemy than to miss the enemy. Surprisingly. But not always. Some trinkets are really garbage. Some of them are shit. I think the thing I'd say about trinkets is you can totally just theorycraft it when looking at the numbers. You don't need to test them out or anything like that. Just look at the numbers associated with the trinket, and if the numbers sound good, they probably are good. It's probably okay. But make sure, when you do that, make sure you have an accurate understanding of how valuable each ability is. For example, resistances and dodge are both valuable. So you need to have some understanding. If you're sort of saying, this will increase my resistances but reduce... No, this will increase my dodge but reduce my resistances. You need to have an understanding of how valuable those specific things are. So you can kind of say, are these benefits really worth it? And I mean, a lot of that just comes down to game sense and game knowledge. I feel like there's some stuff I can say that will help people in terms of providing what is generally a good strategy, what's usually going to work. But there's a lot of stuff that you also have to learn by playing the game. You can't rote learn stuff. It's kind of ties into what I was saying earlier about how having a really sort of hardline plan and sticking to it is going to get you killed.
Secrets and wonders can be found in the most tenebrous.
So I snuffed out the torch there because I snuffed out the torch there. I can't explain why, which is telling me that I shouldn't try and record any more of these videos right now, because there was a very good reason I snuffed out that torch.
Corridors and sloped walls of our ancestry.
But I can't quite put it into words anymore because I drank too much. So I think I'm not going to make any more videos tonight. Because I want these videos to be, you know, sober enough to be useful to people. And if I can no longer explain why I'm deciding the things I'm deciding, I think we've reached the limits of usefulness.
Of my failings.
So we've unlocked the next part of the Warrens. I mean, the Hamlet. We don't need to do anything in any of these places right now. Don't worry about the places you unlock immediately. We'll get to that in a bit. That's going to be the end of the video. Thanks for watching, guys. On YouTube.